hope.
Thank you so much. Asante.
And also, we definitely had to have a specialist, cancer specialist, Dr. Wanda. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And thank you for being here. So I have my ribbon here, but I have it here, but because it'll take time before I put it, I have it here and of course at heart. So ladies, I want us to start a conversation, of course, Ivy.
Yes.
First of all, how does it feel to be a survivor? And how crazy has it been in a nutshell?
It really feels nice. It feels like God has given me another chance to life. It feels like I was asked to give out the old life to be given the new one. Okay. And I feel really blessed to be here. Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, when you hear like, a survivor is talking about a second chance, how does it make you feel from a specialist point of view?
I guess it's really heartwarming to see someone gain the confidence, one, to go through the treatment, and even to come out here and talk about their journey, because it's not an easy journey. It causes a lot of emotional turmoil. So being able to overcome that, to be able to talk about it with a smile, is really a blessing.
It's a blessing. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I met Ivy at Westgate Shopping Mall, and you know, she sells flowers, and she used to give me the most beautiful arrangement of flowers.
Thank you.
You still do that?
Yes, I still do that.
Westgate at the the corner
at the basement.
There. That's her hustle. So let's go to, I think the most interesting thing that people are wondering, at what point did you get to know that you have it?
Okay, so for me it started as nothing really serious, because I just woke up one morning. On the days that I was having my periods, I discovered every time I'm having my periods, I would wake up with a little spot on my night dress or my nightgown. So that's how it started. So it started in like about March. So March, April, May, I still got the spot. That is last year, 2023.
Okay.
It became a norm because, as women, as we grow, as we get older, our bodies change.
Yes,
especially hormones, they tend to, go up and down. So there's a lot of imbalance. So initially, I thought it was that. So when we got to May, I didn't get the spot because it had become kawaida. So when I did get the spot, I was a bit, what's happening?
Yes.
And I remember this evening, I was taking a shower and just out of nowhere, I just decided, the routine, touch yourself, under the arms. And I felt something hard. It hit me a little bit of, no. It's just they're being tender, it's the days of the month, so forget about it. And I remember talking to my sister about it, and she was like, we've all gone through that, we are older, forget about, you're getting old, And as days progressed, this lump didn't go away. I finished my period.
So was it a big lump? Was it like something that was
No, it was
profound?
just something hard, just on top, and it wasn't moving. That I remember it being so hard that it wasn't moving, because when we have milk ducts, when you even touch yourself, you can feel things moving in there. So that one wasn't moving, and I stayed for some weeks. And I remember discussing it with my boss. She's a lady, bless her soul. I love that lady. And I remember telling her, there's this thing I'm feeling, because she's older. I felt she would be the best person to, advise me. So I asked her, and I remember her saying, Ivy, you're telling me and you're still seated, run to the hospital, you stand to lose nothing. If really it's nothing, you're okay, it's nothing. But if it's something, we will have caught it at the early stage. Maybe it's not even what you think it is. It could be something very simple, easy. It's good to just go check yourself, then you go for treatment.
Woo.
Yeah.
So you went, checked. I mean, before when you answered that, Dr. Wanda, like, okay, so many women, like she said, you're getting older, you're ignoring all these things. How often should we do this, this test on ourselves, and also getting to go to a doctor and getting checked? How often should it be? Not just October, right?
Definitely, it shouldn't just be October.
Yes.
And it's good that you've mentioned that. So it's very important to know what is your normal. How do your breasts look like? What is your normal? Because all breasts don't look the same, don't feel the same. and know how they change over your cycle. So it's important to do it monthly. It's recommended you do it after your menses, sort of to have the hormonal component at the same time every month.
Okay.
Previously, we were talking about self-breast exam as a screening modality. However, it was noticed that because as an individual, you have not felt many lumps, it is easy to miss it.
Yes, yes.
So now it is recommended that you have a clinical breast examination where now a healthcare provider does an examination. You can choose to do it yearly in case there is something suspicious, or we do imaging and we say follow up maybe in 6 months, we would advise otherwise. But if everything is normal, then we would want you to do it yearly.
What about, let's just go to the human aspect of it, like I am scared of going and something is found out. How do you how are we supposed to deal with that? Because sometimes you just don't want to, you want to go, but you you don't want to go for this, for the pap smear, for all these things, just because of you're scared, just as a human being.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is a normal feeling to be scared. It is very normal to be worried. What would be found out? How would I go about it? What if?
Yes.
However, once you take the first step and get there, then the fear gets less and less over time. So having the fear is normal.
Yes,
I think
normal.
even for us as doctors, it's a normal fear. When you go for screening, you're worried. What if something comes out? So understanding that it's a normal feeling sort of helps us know you can overcome it.
And it's okay to be
And it's okay to be scared.
Yes,
it's really okay to be scared, but what you do after you've realized that you have the fear is very important. And also now seeing people like Ivy who speak out is giving people a lot of confidence that even if something happens or something is found, if Ivy made it, then I could do it. And that has really helped. So involving the survivors in the conversation is something that's very paramount, because then we can actually see breast cancer from not an abstract point of view to a human perspective and see, yes, if I notice something, I can go, I can get treated, and I can be okay. And that's really important.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for saying that it's okay to be scared.
It's okay to be scared.
So Ivy, when you got to the hospital, at what point were you told, okay, so this is it? And what was your reaction? Were you like, oh my goodness, it's done? How did you react to the news?
So before I go to the news, there are a lot of tests that need to be done. So yes, you'll see the doctor will confirm there's a lump. But even when there's a lump, they need to confirm, is it benign or is it malign? Just in simple terms to mean, is it cancerous or not? So for me, we went through all those tests, and there's this one test called biopsy, where they get a sample from that breast to take it to the lab and they, check. And after 14 days, my results came back. And I remember that morning, you've done all the prayers, you're meeting and God is already done. You're like, God, I'm going for this. And at the back of your mind, you always hope for the best. There's no single day you hope it could be, something.
Anything else.
Like in my case, we've never had it in our history. We are born 5 girls, not in my mom's family, not in my dad. So I knew for sure it is not it. So I get to the hospital, I go to the radiology department, and I'm given an envelope. Google University has really
that is so bad. So you get the envelope and the first thing you go to Google.
I looked at my envelope. They were like, take this envelope, go see the doctor. So on my way to the doctor, I decided, you know what?
Let me check.
Let me just check. And I open, the doctor's language you can't understand.
You can't tell.
And I remember just going so fast down here where it was written findings. And I remember reading all the 5 samples taken, tested positive for invasive ductal carcinoma. Me, who am in marketing and flowers, that sounded foreign. So what do? I get my phone and Google. And the first thing that my eyes landed on was cancer. And I remember.
So where were you? Were you in the heading to the hospital?
I was at 3rd floor. It's in the same premise. So I'm at 3rd floor going to the doctor's office. And I remember seeing the desk where the nurses were. So there's a nurse who saw me. I think she saw me reading through, and I remember her paying attention to me. At that particular time, my world went blurred. I didn't see anything else. I saw death. And I thank God, because I'm here today to tell people that cancer or breast cancer is not a death sentence. It is not. Because at that time, the way Dr. said, we are human, so there's fear, there's confusion. And I remember the nurse running to me and telling me, Ivy, you need a space. And she took me to this kitchenette, just a little kitchen for the nurses. And I remember screaming. I just saw cups, I think, falling. I screamed so March, she held me. And I remember asking her, am I dying? And bless her, because she told me, Ivy, you're not dying. We thank God because we've known this is the result, so we will treat you. So we will give you all the support that you need.
Ooh, yeah. That sounds very heavy. And I can imagine how
hard.
many women go through that. And, you know, they need that nurse or somebody to hold them in that moment.
Yes.
There's something that, you know, Ivy has said, Dr. that, you know, it's a family of 5 girls. Nobody has, there's no, you know, even from the mom's side, there's no history. And, yeah, so a lot of people say, you know, it has to be genetic. Come on, my mom, Hannah, Auntie Young Hannah, Shosho Hannah. I'm good. Probably I'm good.
No.
So what do you say about that? Like, is there like a way to know, you know, like, you know, you have it or you don't have it?
That's a good question, and I think one of the myths about cancer care is that it's genetic, that if you do not have family history then you're safe. That's a myth, because when you look at statistics, then only 5 to 10% of breast cancers are genetic. 5 to 10%. So we have a 90% chunk that is not genetic. No one in your family has history of cancer, but I become the first one to have cancer. So that's just to say screening is very important, because even if your family doesn't have history, as Ivy has mentioned, then there's still a 90% chance. And when we look at the risk factors, some are factors that are non-modifiable. Like one, it's commoner to have breast cancer in women than in men. Men get breast cancer, but for them it's like a 1% of breast cancers being male. The other non-modifiable is just being female. The age, as you age, then that's a risk factor. Perhaps if you started your menses very early, we're talking about below the age of 12. If you get menopause after the age of 60, it means you've had a long period of exposure to estrogen, the hormones that make us female. You've had cycles going on. If you have your fewer children, if you have your
My goodness, it sounds like a whole punishment.
So there's this whole things of things that some are modifiable, some are not. If I take a lot of alcohol, cigarette smoking, it increases the risk. If I get to menopause and I'm given hormone replacement, then that's also a risk factor. If maybe in childhood I had radiation to my chest, then it's a risk factor. So understanding there's a lot other than genetic. So just singling out genetics might not really be a correct way to look at things. And I think that is one of the reasons we're not having many women come for screening. They're like, why should I get screened? We don't have genetics.
You know, the list that you've made, I think all of us should make sure that we get screened. Just from the list that you've mentioned. Oh my goodness. So coming back to you, Ivy, let's talk about the journey now, from now acceptance, and now you're saying, okay, fine, I'm going to battle this out. How heavy was, you know, the chemotherapy and everything? And I'm sure, like, right now there are many women, you know, who are going through it, and they just want to know, like, there's light at the end of the tunnel after all these sessions. How was it for you?
It was hard. It was hard, and I think I held on to one thing that gave me hope, and that's my daughter. I have a 6-year-old daughter. Her name is Zoe, and every time I was like in my lowest, I remember Daktari telling me, Ivy, fight this thing so that you live to see your daughter grow. And I thank God, because that thing really gave me hope. Seeing her on its own gave me, you know, the struggle, but it was hard. You know, you'll be told, eat right, take one day at a time. But we as human, that thing puts you down. But what I want to say, even when you're down, try. Don't stay down there. Try and pick up yourself. Pole, pole. Give yourself time to heal. If you feel you can't leave bed, it is okay. See that day on bed. But tomorrow, try. Pole, pole. It wasn't easy. It was hard. And the more you move, because you do like 8 sessions, so at first your body hasn't adjusted really, so you know you can go through it easily, because I was doing at the intervals of 3 weeks. So you find the first one okay, second okay. By the time you get to the third one, that's when it gets real. You start losing hair completely. You go bald, your nails become black. There are those who lose their nails completely. And that's the time it gets really hard.
Really hard.
Yes.
But, you know, like you said, you have to find maybe purpose and fight through. Okay, so as we wrap up, unfortunately, time is over, but Dr. just very quickly. So as a specialist, what can you tell, apart from what you've said about listing everything, what hope can you give people that, you know, it's not a death sentence, that like she started saying when we started the conversation?
Yeah, I think it's very important for us to emphasize that, because most people, when they hear the cancer word, then they feel like it's the end.
So it's done.
However, we have had a lot of advancements in terms of care. Oncology is one of those fields, research is happening every day. And if you see, we have a lot of conferences in our field where new information is given out on how to treat patients. The side effect profile has become better because of the drugs that have come. The nausea and vomiting is kept at bay, better than it was in the past. So we're getting to a place where we have a large body of survivors. And that is really encouraging, because it means the treatment is working. They're here with us. And that means if we go for screening, so if you're below the age of 40, it's very important for you to go for a clinical breast exam. If we need to do imaging, then we'll do an ultrasound or an MRI of the breast, depending on what we're looking out for. If you're above the age of 40, then we'd want to do what is called a mammogram. That is an X-ray of the breast. Remember, before you feel a mass, the X-ray can pick out even a speckle that can be really small and that can go a long way in detecting cancer early. So early detection saves lives, and it's important for us to go for screening, and it will go a long way in ensuring we catch it early, the treatment options become easier, the side effect profile is less, and patients do well.
Thank you. That's hopeful. Thank you. So we should go for screening. Your last words, you know, to any cancer patient who's watching you right now, going through, I want you to look into that camera and just talk to them, because you've been there. What is it that you can tell them to give them some inspiration?
One thing that I'll tell them is there's hope at the end of the tunnel. It might be so hard right now. I know you're wondering if there are days that it will be better. There are days that you'll take water and it won't taste like still. There's hope. I'm here to assure you, you keep on fighting, go through the chemo, go through the radio, if it is mastectomy, go through it. Follow your doctor's advice, because it is very important. Don't get to a point where you surrender or you give up. Don't, because I'm here today. That should be enough to, for you to fight.
Wow, amazing. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your story. Also, sharing somebody's story is also very personal. But thank you for coming on national TV and sharing that it's possible to be okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And continue, shining and looking fabulous and slaying. And the hair and everything is looking good. Big up to you. And also, Dr. thank you for everything that you guys are doing, at least to make sure that we come to, to get checked and also we get treated. Well, thank you so much. My goodness, I feel so inspired. I don't know if you feel inspired. Okay, if you feel inspired, please, let's all go and try to get tested. Let's go get screened. It doesn't hurt. And of course, as you've heard Dr. is saying, it's always good to go early, and things can easily be sorted out. So I'll personally make the to go again. But for you at home who's watching, let's make the right choice and do the right thing. Drag your sister, drag your niece, drag your mom, drag your girlfriend, your partner, your wife. Let's all go and get screened, all right?
Yes.
So thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
All right, and you know what? That brings us to the end of the show tonight.
But before, I have a gift for you.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Oh, my goodness. All right, let's bring it in. Okay, so ladies, I told you that she sells the most beautiful flowers at Westgate Mall. That is normally at the basement. At the basement.
Yes.
So please, let's support my girl Ivy.
Yes.
That's how we came to know each other, and then later on, I got to know about her struggle. All right, let's stand and get. My best just did the thing. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Wow, these are so gorgeous. Oh, look at that. My goodness. Do you know she sells beautiful?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So guys, look at that. I love my flowers. They're so pretty. Thank you so much.
I'm
the one who should be giving you flowers. But anyway, you sell them, so you see them every day. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart for the flowers and also for sharing.
You're welcome.
All right, so please support Ivy's business, Westgate Mall at the basement. She has the most gorgeous flowers. And then now lazima. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, good night from me. I'll see you again, God willing, next Friday. Till then, let's be kind to one another.